Welcome, everybody, to the Vessel Church podcast. This is our Tap In series where we help you tap into the message that we hear on Sunday. I am joined, as always, by the man himself, Pastor Alex Jordan.
Wow. With that lead in, I hope there's like an applause track or something like that.
I can make that happen. Audio listeners, I'm popping that in there. My name is Lyana Shelton. I'm a worship leader here at Vessel Church. And guys, pardon our dust because things have been happening at Vessel Church.
I'm no longer a pastor. I'm now a maintenance man.
You are an electrician. You
kind of
install fans and TVs and such. If you follow us on our socials, we're going to start posting some updates about what's been going on at our new building.
Yes.
If you don't know already, or if you're not from this area, we have in fact moved to our forever home. We're very, very grateful. But we just wanted to get in here, if I'm being honest. Like, we got the keys and we were like, let's just start having services. So it has been a real pardon our dust situation because
a lot of trial and error.
Our real grand opening is actually going to be happening end of September.
Yes.
Which we're very excited about. So
last Wednesday in September.
Last Wednesday in September, we're doing a praise night, and then that'll be our first official launch Sunday that week as well. We're really excited. So if you've been joining us, it's been a bit of an adventure. There's been a TV. There's been a TV on a speaker.
Yes. There's been a TV on a stand on a speaker.
There's been chandeliers. There's been fans.
There's been wireless mics. There's been wired mics. There's been mics on screwdrivers?
On screwdrivers?
Huh? What?
Pardon our dust. But it has really been an adventure. We are kind of using these next couple weeks to continue to move in, build our new space. Pastor Alex Jordan here has been leading the way and helping us be slow and steady and really create an environment that we can grow in long term, which has been very fun. So the colors in these rooms might not be the same when we launch. We're going to have new flooring put in soon. The chandeliers will be becoming fans. God willing.
Yeah, God willing.
So we have a lot of really fun stuff on the horizon.
Depends how long Dax naps today.
He's still asleep somewhere. But so we say all that to say, if you are joining us right now, give us some grace as we are setting up. Things will continue to change little by little so that we could be ready for that September opening. And we're really excited to see what the space can become.
Yes. Yeah. Very exciting. It's going to be a cool thing we're doing. Mm-hmm. And I know just having people in here has been really inspiring and fun and see some new faces as well as just like everybody kind of figuring out the new Sunday morning routine.
Yeah.
You know, how you get here, what coffee shops on your drive in, even where to park, where to sit,
I'll tell
fellowship.
You, it was like Hunger Games that first day. We did our first service and everybody was like,
well, and then we had the audacity to change the chairs, change the chair arrangement.
Yes, we did.
And people were like, well, I thought I had a seat.
And now nobody knows. We're like, where do we sit?
I was third from the left, pockets? 2 rows back, and now there's no third from the left, 2 rows back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We don't even have Moshe today. We have, I found this somewhere we're technically in the children's classroom right now. So I don't know who left this on Sunday, but
I'm not sure.
He's our little friend now. He's Moshe the second.
My little guy.
But do you have any other fun things you want to share about the building or?
No, Lyana, you said it all. I think just, pardon our dust. We're figuring it out and, come and worship with us, but also, extend some much needed grace as we figure these things out. We are working diligently to get it done, and it's been exciting to work with all the different teams and just seeing some of the guys that were here last night moving a bunch of stuff, and then it's funny because we moved into that mall space back during COVID.
Oh my gosh,
the first time.
Yeah,
and
was that 2020 or 2021?
That was 2020, and it was the end. It was like September 2020. We moved into the mall. And then things started to open up in 2021, and we really started to kind of like cement ourselves there. Yeah. And we did Halloween, and like just seeing all the things that have kind of evolved and watching the evolution from 812 to 344. Yeah. And 355, whatever they were. Yeah. The other space.
Behind Raymore and Flanagan.
Yeah. To the
in
side.
Between Mr. Christmas.
To the side there. Yeah. And then now to being here, like it's just been really cool to see those evolutions. And even just knowing like all the needs that we had, like the stuff that we bought to move into one space, we didn't need the second time around. And so it was just kind of cool to see. So it's been
even
fun.
though like even that we have, like, we are currently sitting on our main space for worship was full of these really beautiful, very well taken care of pews from the previous owners, and they're gorgeous. We kept 2 of them, so if you come to our cafe, they're sitting in here, but we had to remove all those. We're putting in new flooring, all that kind of stuff, which is really exciting. And for kind of doing a soft secret launch at our new space, we have had so many new faces, like Alex is saying, and people from the community, people who have been praying for us. I can't believe how many of you guys have been praying for us and like supporting us and wanting us to get this new space. Even people who don't come regularly, it's been very sweet and very encouraging to see. So we got to say thank you for that. And then this upcoming weekend, by the time this goes out, depending, or very soon, we are going to our camp. It's our 2026 members only summer camp. This is Camp Vessel. We do this. This is a yearly thing we do for our members where we get some really great time together, where we get intensive Bible classes. Bible classes? That sounds like the children's program. But intensive devotionals and classes. Amen to that. And we do a lot of fun activities and just make a lot of memories together to get ready for that fall season and kind of going into the end of the year here. So we will not be here that week, but after that, you can come and join us.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's all of our housekeeping right now. Right?
It was a long list.
It was a long list.
And that wraps up the podcast, guys. We hope you have a great week and go Bills.
And go Bills. No, I'm kidding. Could you imagine?
That'd be so funny.
But something really fun that we didn't get to talk about was before we moved to our new space, our senior pastor did a series called God's Instrument. It was a little duology moment. It was part 1 and part 2. And it was a really, really great 2-part sermon that we want to kind of get into because it was really great and it resonated with a lot of people. God's Instruments. Shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, amazing. So the entire theme of this series was, I'm calling it a series. It really was just a 2-parter, but series sounds better.
No, series is fine.
We'll go with that. Was how we can be instruments for God. Danny started talking about how God makes instruments that are beautiful and divine poetry, not junk. And the first thing he did was he pulled out 2 different guitars. One guitar that was beautiful and new and stunning. And then he pulled out his old guitar that was literally covered in duct tape. The strings were falling off and it was terrible. And he used that as a very visual example of how Satan wants us to look at ourselves versus how God sees us and who we actually are in the image of God. And I really loved that example because when he was playing on the like beautiful one, it sounded great. Danny Mac, he can shred, but then he played on the old guitar and he literally couldn't even play. He could barely get a sound out. And now he was saying that when we look at ourselves the way God sees us, then we are that beautiful instrument, that new creation, that can create something really wonderful with him. But when Satan gets in our head, what he wants us to believe is we're that old guitar that you can't play on broken strings kind of thing. And then he really started talking about insecurity and focused on that for the rest of the lesson, really. Sorry, do you have anything to share with us? Sorry, I'm just powering through.
No,
here.
I was just waiting.
Okay, cool.
Waiting for my opportune time. No.
Yeah.
No, I guess now I have to say something because
you don't have to. You don't have to. I didn't present you with a question. That's
it's
a bad
fine.
Host move.
It's fine. It's cool. It was. I think it's a really great, to your point, a really great visual example and an awesome reminder of like when we have those mornings where we don't feel great or sound great or look great, and understanding that like we are still that beautiful creation in God's eyes, and we still look like that beautiful guitar and have an opportunity to sound great as well. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
But that's a good
my
point.
Intro.
No, he made the joke that he's like, when you wake up and you got the crusties in your eyes in the morning, he's like, do you really feel like divine poetry? And that's a favorite of Danny Mac's.
That is. We need to give him a divine poetry t-shirt.
Oh, we should make merch.
I love it.
Oh my God, I'm adding it to the merch line. Don't tell him. He's going to listen to this. What am I saying? Dad, don't listen to this. But I love that idea that like we just don't see ourselves like this, right? And there's he shared so many scriptures about how we're new creations, how God sees us, how we're how we are treasured and holy in his sight. And he ended up sharing our theme scripture, right, about being vessels for honorable use. Yeah. And that our whole theme as Vessel Church is that we are those vessels for honorable use, that we start broken and God reforms us with gold, right? Mm-hmm. But then he kind of got into the weeds on insecurity and what insecurity breeds in us. He talked about that insecurity is that fear of punishment. It's a statement that says, I don't believe you, God. I don't believe what you're saying to me.
Right.
And the whole point is that we should have confidence in God, not because we're so awesome, but because God is awesome. And that fear can't help us win over racism, classism, all the isms, if you will. And it's very separating. And so he kind of started talking about that specifically, but that feeling of insecurity, and that he shared that scripture that says that, that insecurity is the fear of punishment. It's that it's not that perfect love that drives out all fear. So I don't know if you have anything to share with that, but
no, it's such a good point. Like how insecurity can be a not so disguised sin, and that fear and doubt is just exactly that, like doubting that God has our best interest in mind, doubting that God is who he says he is, and how quickly that can kind of spiral into, controlling our actions and controlling our behavior, dictating how we treat others as well. And I think, it's one of those really insidious things that like it starts as an honest thought, but it can really snowball. And I was reading this thing recently, and it was just talking about how like when you have an anxious thought or an insecure thought, you really have a crossroads. And on one side, you can use that anxiety or that insecurity for God, or you can use it for the enemy. And when you're met with that insecurity or that anxious thought, there's an opportunity to either take an evaluation of like, where's that coming from? What is it serving? What is it speaking? Or diving into it and giving it its opportunity to take control of you, to dictate how you're going to treat others, to dive down that rabbit hole of that insecurity. And so how like, insecurity and anxious thoughts, I think can always, or generally speaking, can be seen as like, oh, these are bad. It's bad. If you have an insecure thought, you're a bad person. If you have an anxious thought, you're a bad person. Right. But like, that's not the truth. Like those things are going to come. Like God gives us emotions for a reason, but what do we do with them when they do come? And I think just from the standpoint of like, okay, if I'm having an insecurity, like, am I trusting God in this area? If I'm having an insecurity, am I being faithful with this outcome? If I'm having an insecurity, where is that coming from, and what is it trying to tell me? And I think it can be a really good opportunity to check in with where our faith is at, rather than allowing it to be something that pulls us away from God. So
that's
good.
A longer answer, it's really good, but it reminds me of that scripture that says that the word of God is like a double-edged sword, right? And it separates even the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Yeah. And it seems like it's what you're saying here, that like if you kind of just, don't do anything with the thought, it kind of goes nowhere. And that could be good or bad. Right. Right. That could be sinful or productive. And that insecurity kind of stops you. And, my dad talked about, I got to stop calling him my dad, senior pastor, Daniel Macaluso.
He's also your dad, I think.
He's also my dad.
I don't think you can.
Everybody knows that. But he's used the phrase that God created you. He's tuning you. And he wants to play his beautiful song through you. Yeah. And that I think like every musician knows that you can't play on an instrument that hasn't been tuned. Right. It just doesn't sound right. Right. Yeah. It's a mess. And so he talked a lot about how like the specific things that insecurity breeds and what it prevents from happening. So I'm just going to kind of list them out because I think they're so good.
I want to share something, but after this, because I think it'll go right in. Right in
it's so good. So he said that insecurity, first thing it breeds is defensiveness. And what happens when you're defensive is you won't grow. Or it breeds cowardice, which means you don't get any miracles. Or it breeds envy and jealousy, which makes you afraid to lose what you have or wanting what other people have. And honestly, that just ruins relationships. It makes you critical, which can make you lash out. And all of this boils down to misunderstanding God's plan for you. Because if you're defensive, you can't hear what people are saying. If you're afraid, if you're cowardly, you don't do anything. You can't make anything happen. And if you're envious and jealous, then you can't move forward yourself. Yeah. And being critical, that's just rude. That's not productive. But I gotta think, I think you read that out, and I was sitting there in that lesson thinking, those are all things I've felt. Sure. For sure. Yeah. Like, I think most of us in our sinful nature, this is the default, right? because it's a lot harder to be humble and understand God's plan. It's a lot easier to be fearful. It's a lot easier to be insecure and not take charge of what God is giving you in the moment, right? So I don't know if you had something to share with that.
I think it's a really good point. And I also think, like, I know kind of in part 2 of this, but even what he was talking about here, like that needing of other people, like if you're if you're not willing to hear what other people are going to say, like if you're being defensive, then you can't rely on other people. And I think like when an instrument is out of tune, you generally don't know it's out of tune until you hear it alongside an in-tune instrument. And I think like when you pull out that second guitar and it's all beated and you can't make a noise, it's very clear that that guitar is out of tune.
Yeah.
But when you pull out a guitar that maybe just hasn't been tuned in a day or two and you play that one, it can fool you to think that you're right in tune.
Ooh.
But when you play it with an instrument that isn't out of tune or that has been tuned recently, that's when you really see the glaring effects. Dang. And I think like when like he talked about, having that defensiveness, like when we put the hand up, we're essentially tuning out anybody that will help tune us to God. And I think that is one of the scariest things, because it's really easy to walk through your life and be slightly out of tune with God. Because you can be adjacent to what he's saying, but not really be striking the true middle C. And, for anybody who does music theory out there, middle C is the note in the middle of the keyboard. It's also like usually used for most theory and songwriting, but ultimately tuning. And I think, when you're talking about like being in tune with God, it's really easy to be slightly out of tune and not know it. It's, it's a lot harder to be completely out of tune and not acknowledge it. But I think when you're falling out and you're not quick to tune yourself, like it makes it harder to bring it back to that perfect pitch. So I think like, that defensiveness one I think is so important. And I know in part 2, he had the band play together and added the instruments and how it all comes together. But I think, there's a really great part in there about that reliance, because if you're envious or jealous of other people, you're not going to be willing to rely on them or to want them to rely on you. Like there's just so many barriers that come with all of those defaults. And before you know it, you're again building the high walls that, invite destruction. Yeah. So.
Very, very true. No, and I think that's so cool. And he even said, like, why are we so afraid of people speaking the truth to us, right? And it's because of all these insecurity things, right? You're not going into it with right thinking. And he made the point that he was like, if you're sitting here feeling insecure, really what you're thinking about is yourself.
Right.
And he's like, if everybody's insecure, then no one's thinking of you. Odds are they're thinking about their own ish. It reminded me of the immortal words of Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl.
I don't
think of you. If you have not seen Gossip Girl, there's a scene where this really popular guy is talking to the not as popular guy. The not as popular guy goes, Chuck, I know what you must think of me. And Chuck goes, I don't think of you. And
iconic.
That got sent around a lot during the sermon. But that like people really aren't, they're not thinking about you.
Right.
Odds are they're thinking about yourself. Most people have enough of their own problems and things that they're not thinking about you, which is really, it's very powerful and refreshing.
But how quickly we get tricked into thinking that everyone is staring at us, or everyone sees the piece of cabbage in your tooth or spinach. Yeah.
And you made a point, this was on a previous podcast. This was from like probably about a month or so ago, that you said that like, if you wouldn't get advice from a person who's like giving you criticism that you don't, like, you're like, why would I listen to what they're saying? But when you have those people in your life who really love you and you do want to get advice from, and you got to trust that they have your best interest at heart when they're bringing something to you. It's not because they've been like, ooh, how can I make your life worse? Like they're trying to help you. Right. And having that kind of like attitudes towards it was really freeing. Yeah. And my dad said that it's good to have a shower singing kind of attitude.
Amen.
That singing in the shower, everybody's confident. Everybody thinks they're Whitney Houston in the shower. Myself included. And then he told the story about a very infamous butt dial that he did.
Oh, no.
Where he was driving to a gig, because my dad is in a band, and he was rehearsing a song and had no idea that he had in fact butt dialed me. So he was scream singing Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Let's go.
And had no idea I was on the phone. And like, it was like for singers, like, when you practice it, you're never practicing it straight. So you're like, don't want the world to see me. Everything's meant to be broken. And brother was just singing, but he had confidence and truthfully sounded great.
I just want you to know who I am. I just felt like everyone at home was waiting for that.
Oh, they were. You are. But like genuinely, like why don't we have that kind of confidence in our regular life?
Somebody's ears.
We definitely did. I pulled my mic back. I'd like that to be known.
I did too, but I'm thinking about somebody walking down the street listening to this on the podcast or like in their AirPods or something, and they're like, there's like a very like a baseline
we're
talking
just, like, low,
volume.
and
Yeah,
like,
then all of a
just
sudden we're screaming.
Bro.
That's great. I'm sorry, I don't mean to distract. We gotta wrap this up.
It's so great. But he talked about somebody like Paul, how in the Bible Paul was that broken instrument, right? But then he came to God and he became an instrument useful for God, right?
Yes.
And that it's never about whether you are talented enough. It's always about whether you are willing enough to be placed in the hands of the master. And his follow-up lesson was so much about connection and community and pulling together as people to help each other get to heaven. And that we sound a lot better when we play together.
Yeah.
Faith is not a one-man sport. It is not solitaire. Thank God. I don't like solitaire. I'm very bad at it because I can't do math. But that faith is so much more about coming together and helping each other. And he did this great example, like you alluded to, of the band for our worship team came up. And each part played their part individually, right, for a song. And it sounded great. Some people didn't have anything to play, which was great. Like it was like a ding, ding, ding on the piano, where Brandon was like slaying on the guitar, right? He was like going for it. Drums were going crazy. And truthfully, Nate was out of town, our bass player. And in that moment, I was sitting there like, oh man, I've been missing the bass today. Like you can hear it, like that it's missing, right? Yeah. And then they all started playing together and you realize how like when it's played as one in that unity, it's so beautiful. Yeah. But that if you miss any individual part, it's like the song's it's not the same.
True.
It's just not the same. Yeah. And he talked a lot about the function of the body and how each part has a different function. And really your mark as a successful disciple is how well are you doing in your part of the body and what you're doing. Right. And that like if everybody played the bass, the song would be a little lacking. But if everybody played the drums, it would be deafening. Yeah. Guys, Jared has so many drumsticks. I'm so sorry. Can I share this?
I think animal.
Animal. This is so funny. We just moved out of our old space to move into our new space. Jared has like literally 100 drumsticks back there.
My man plays with his whole heart.
He's
got a Colossians 3:23 attitude back there.
We kept counting. We're like, gosh, there's more. It's amazing. It's amazing. Shout out Jared. But that really we should want to play together. That being instruments useful for God is being instruments that are played in orchestra together, in harmony, you know. And in years past, he's used the singers to do that as well. Of like that every part of the harmony adds to this really beautiful whole, right? Sorry, did you have anything to share?
No, that's great. That's great.
But we encourage you that as you're going through your week, be very clear about what insecurity is and what it breeds, but then focus on what it can be when you play in harmony with the body of God. It is so incredible what you as an instrument can do in an orchestra. And when you think about an orchestra, it's massive. And there's so many different types of instruments. When I was in elementary school, I played percussion. And I didn't realize how many percussion instruments there are back there. If you ever play percussion, there's like 2 of you back there for the whole orchestra, and you're playing like 6 instruments. And every single one has a cool function, and the song wouldn't be the same without it, you know? And that no matter what you're doing for the work of the kingdom, it's always important, and it always helps for the grander whole.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think about like we were just at the Erie County Fair recently, and they had the Erie County Fair marching band, and like the drum line is like so cool because it's one of the first things you hear, right, as they're marching up the street. But the drum lines are only as cool as when the horns come in and they really play that effect, or when, you know, the wind instruments come in and they add the, you know, the flare. Like it's just every little bit adds to it. And I think that's exactly what Jesus is offering you in terms of being a part of his band, you know, being an instrument for God, is that, you know, those insecurities are going to come no matter where you are or what you're going through, but, you know, you have an opportunity to play in tune with the Creator. And that is a beautiful thing. And so I think for all of us, we should have a Whitney Houston in the shower kind of attitude.
And I will always love you. You are hitting that. Oh my God. That's really good.
I grew up with a lot of sisters. But no, it's just such a cool thing to be in tune with God. And so I encourage you, if you need somebody to help you get in tune, come check out Vessel Church. We would be happy to help you. Yeah. We know we need each other to stay in tune each and every day. So we hope that you guys can come find us at 111 South Youngs Road. We're doing service at 10 a.m. on Sundays, 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. As Lyana had alluded to, be on the lookout for our calendar because we've got our family camp coming up and we'll have no local services that Sunday. But soon to be in September and through October, we're going to be doing services here regularly with our grand opening coming at the end of September.
Yep.
And it's a lot of cool stuff in store. So as always, we love you guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills. If anybody owns this guy, can you tell me what its name is and where it came from? Bye.